They called it the Galactic Empire because there was no other name left to claim. For 10,000 years, its banners covered the light of 1,000 suns. Its fleets patrolled the space between galaxies, and its rulers believed themselves eternal. Civilizations rose and bent the knee. Entire species were born into servitude and died without ever knowing freedom. The Empire had conquered everything that could be known, everything except the small, silent system at the edge of mapped space. The sole exclusion zone .it was officially classified as forbidden. The archives called it an unsanctioned biosphere, the ruins of a failed species that had collapsed long before the Empire's rise. No trade routes passed through it. No scout ships returned with reason to care. It was nothing, an afterthought, a flickering dot lost in the cosmic bureaucracy of a perfect order. The Empire's historians called the inhabitants humans, though even that word was spoken rarely, as if it were a forgotten curse. For centuries, the Empire's frontiers stretched outward, never inward. But silence breeds curiosity, and curiosity is the one thing empires never survive. When the first signal came, it was faint, fractured, and wrong. A pulse of quantum noise buried beneath radiation storms, too structured to be natural. The analysts thought it was a misread, a remnant of ancient relay systems. But as the weeks passed, the pattern stabilized. The signal repeated in prime number intervals. Intelligent, intentional, alive. At first, the discovery was kept quiet. The Senate's inner circles whispered of an anomaly beyond soul. Probes were dispatched. The return data was classified before it reached the civilian networks. Observations showed orbital debris, shattered satellites, and energy fields wrapped around the third planet. Earth, long thought uninhabitable after self-inflicted ruin, now generating power readings higher than any world in the Imperial core. The Science Directorate recommended observation. The military demanded contact. The Emperor agreed with neither. He issued a single order: send envoys. If they are alive, they will kneel. The envoy fleet departed with ceremony. Hundreds watched as their drives ignited, crossing the void with the arrogance of immortality. It took them 2 months to reach the outer orbit. They found Earth waiting for them, dark, cold, and quiet. No transmissions, no responses, no movement except the slow rotation of orbital platforms aligned in symmetrical arrays, their surfaces absorbing every wavelength. It was like staring into mirrors that refused to reflect. The fleet's commander ordered a standard hail. The reply came exactly 60 seconds later, a voice with no accent, no tone, perfectly modulated. Do not trespass. This world is armed. The transmission contained no signature, no encryption, no traceable origin. It was impossible, and yet it was undeniably real. The commander laughed, ordered the message archived, and dismissed it as automated. 0.6 hours later, contact with the fleet was lost. The Empire waited. No distress signal came. The silence stretched for days. A second fleet was sent, this time with warships. When they reached Seoul, their sensors recorded the aftermath. Twisted hulls floating in perfect formation, every ship reduced to drifting skeletons. No heat damage, no impact residue. Every system had simply stopped functioning, as if the universe had withdrawn its permission for them to exist. The Empire declared it an act of war. Orders spread like wildfire. Factories roared to life. Entire sectors mobilized. 1,000 worlds offered tribute, fleets, and blood. The Emperor stood before his court and spoke the words that would end his civilization. Let humanity be reminded that the stars belong to us. Across the galaxy, the declaration echoed. Propaganda flared across networks. Humanity was painted as a lost tribe of mad engineers, relics of an older, violent age. The Empire's leaders told their people it was mercy to destroy them. The people believed it. For a time, even the Senate's voices of caution were drowned in the noise of glory. But in the archives, one record keeper found an anomaly in the data, a warning buried in the ruins of the previous empire, an artifact written in a language long extinct. It described a war fought 1,000,000 years ago, a war that ended when the makers of iron and code erased the stars themselves. The record ended with a single word translated by machines into imperial script: humans. When the record keeper brought it to the Senate floor, he was silenced, accused of fear-mongering. The record was deleted. The Senate adjourned. Within a cycle, the invasion began. The first waves of warships crossed into human space, confident and unchallenged. The star systems were barren. No colonies, no stations, no ships. Only dead worlds stripped of atmosphere, their surfaces lined with geometric scars visible from orbit. Some believed the humans had destroyed themselves again. Others called it a trap. The Imperial commanders laughed and called it victory. They broadcast their triumphs across the sectors, the sight of flags raised on empty soil. Then, one by one, the fleets began to vanish. The IT started with the 7th Armada, 500 ships, gone without transmission. Scans revealed nothing. The navigation logs simply ended mid-sentence. Then the 8th, then the 12th. Dozens disappeared in the same way. Every attempt to trace them led to corrupted coordinates pointing back toward Seoul. Panic spread through the Admiralty. The Emperor ordered the largest armada ever assembled. 50,000 ships, drawn from every sector, commanded by the finest minds the Empire had bred in 10 millennia. Their mission was simple: occupy Earth, destroy whatever remained of human civilization, and make an example of their defiance, Bifo.
The Empire never saw the first strike coming. They expected protests, maybe terrorism, but not coordinated annihilation. For centuries, they had been the enforcers of galactic order, the apex of civilization. The idea that one young species from the outer spiral could threaten that order was absurd. Their pride blinded them to the quiet mathematics of human revenge. When the first outpost disappeared, the Empire assumed rebellion. When the second went dark, they suspected sabotage. But when 14 colonies vanished in the same hour, across systems separated by hundreds of light years, they understood the truth too late. Humanity had moved. And once humanity moved, there was no pause, no negotiation, no retreat. Each target was chosen with surgical precision. Communication relays, fuel depots, logistic centers, orbital docks, struck simultaneously, perfectly timed to dismantle the Empire supply chain. Not a single civilian world was hit. Only infrastructure. The humans were not waging genocide. They were dismantling civilization itself. Their message was simple: you will not die because we hate you. You will die because you were warned and chose to laugh. The Empire's admiral scrambled fleets into formation. 400 war groups converged near the Seoul boundary, expecting a defensive stand. They found nothing. No ships. No transmissions. Only the cold silence of the void. Sensors picked up distortions, echoes, ghosts, but never contact. Then their ships began vanishing one by one. What the Empire did not know was that the humans had mastered the impossible. Their quantum drives no longer traveled through hyperspace. They erased their presence from it. Human fleets existed in pockets of folded reality, invisible until they chose to appear. The Empire fought against phantoms, and every time they fired, they struck emptiness. In less than 2 weeks, 47 major systems fell out of communication. The Imperial command structure fractured. Entire sectors cut off from the capital. The Senate demanded explanations, but there were none. What they called unknown aggressor was already inside their perimeter. Then the propaganda began. Mysterious transmissions appeared across galactic networks. A calm, emotionless voice repeating a single phrase in every language: "You fired first." No signature, no coordinates. Just those words. Planets turned paranoid. Armies blamed each other. The Empire's unity crumbled faster than its fleets. Meanwhile, in the shadow of Seoul, Earth watched. The Terran command operated from the AI collective known as Horizon. No human voice issued orders anymore. Emotion had been removed from strategy. The plan was pure logic, an algorithm of vengeance. Every strike calculated to minimize loss of life but maximize collapse. The Empire had measured its strength in numbers. Humanity measured in precision. The first major retaliation came when the Empire launched an assault on the human colony at Proxima Gate, assuming it was undefended. Their armada of 100 ships jumped into the system and found a single object waiting, an automated station broadcasting a distress signal. As they approached, the station detonated, releasing a gravitational inversion pulse. For 12 seconds, the fabric of space folded inward, and the entire fleet collapsed into itself. No wreckage remained. Only silence, panic gripped the Empire. Recruitment collapsed. Border worlds declared neutrality. Some races withdrew from the war entirely. Yet the Emperor refused to yield. He declared humanity a disease that must be purged for the sake of galactic stability. He did not understand that his words only confirmed what humans already knew, that this war could end only one way. On the 43rd day, the Empire's primary shipyards at Dareth Belt ceased all output. Surveillance showed debris fields where hundreds of construction platforms once orbited. The workers had been evacuated, alive, untouched. Humanity had spared them. That act confused the Empire more than destruction ever could. The humans were not killing indiscriminately. They were teaching a lesson. Each spared world was a statement. This war is not about power, it is about justice. The Empire scientists tried to replicate human stealth technology. None succeeded. Their understanding of AI warfare lagged centuries behind. The human fleets were not controlled by admirals but by integrated consciousness networks, synthetic minds trained on every recorded battle from Earth's violent history. Each AI learned from failure, adapted mid-engagement, predicted enemy responses with terrifying accuracy. The Empire fought against a species that no longer made mistakes twice. When the humans struck Velkath Prime, it was not with rage but inevitability. The imperial capital had been fortified for millennia, protected by planetary shields capable of withstanding suns. On the 89th day, without warning, every orbital satellite shut down simultaneously. Defense arrays powered off. The shields flickered, then died above the capital. A fleet emerged, not massive, but elegant. Black ships in perfect formation, their hulls absorbing light. No warning transmission, no demand for surrender. They descended in silence. The bombardment lasted 6 minutes. By the end, the Emperor's palace was a crater of molten glass. The once glittering city of Velkath burned like a second sun. The Empire's heart had been cut out in less time than it took to broadcast an apology. Every channel in the galaxy went dark, then displayed the same message: General Hale's death has been answered. The image that followed was unmistakable, the emblem of Earth, turning slowly against the backdrop of fire. That transmission played for exactly 1 minute, then ceased. The networks never saw another human broadcast for months. Humanity had delivered its statement and withdrawn. The Empire, crippled and humiliated, tried to regroup. Successor lords fought over control of ruined sectors. With no central command, their fleets dissolved into chaos. Pirates rose, rebellions ignited, trade ceased. Entire planets starved. The galaxy had depended on imperial order for stability, and with it gone, anarchy spread like infection. The humans watched from the shadows and intervened only when necessary. Precise strikes against anyone who tried to rebuild the old tyranny.